Welcome to our finance clinic, and I am Dr. Pardon Mwansa, your host. There are certain objectives we always have at the finance clinic, one of which is to help you analyze your situation financially so that you would then be able to see what strategies you need to apply to your unique situation in order to create out of you a good money manager. I am sure that is what you are getting. I am so happy about the beautiful comments we are getting, the benefits from people that are watching this show. As a matter of fact, I want, instead of sharing with you the signs of a financially stressed person, today I'm going to reflect on the questions that I received after the last show. The last show was about saving, having a savings plan. I got so many questions and so many comments. Let me start with one of the most common and frequently asked questions. It was the question that had to do with my amount of money is too small. I get 2,000 kwacha as my monthly salary. I have a family, and how can I save when I have such a small amount? Let me quickly address that. The principle of saving and the purpose why we save money is not based on how much money you get per month. Remember what I shared. The reason why you want to save some money is so that when you are faced with emergencies, unexpected financial challenges, you will have something on the side. So it's not the amount of money that matters. What matters is saving something that from whatever you earn. So if your salary is even as small as 500, as small as 2,000, as big as 5,000 or 10,000, it simply means your spending habits are around your figure. Get some 10%, which is a suggested amount for saving, and save it irrespective of how much the amount is. The second question that I got was, I have circumstances that are just too much. I have my relatives visiting me. I have this happening. And so the circumstances do not allow me to save. My response: the very circumstances that happen in your life are the very reason that you want to save, so that when those circumstances come, you overcome them by having some readily available money to spend. Circumstances will never end. As a matter of fact, circumstances are the reasons why we encourage people to have a saving, so that when it happens, they can fall on something. The third question was on regularity. The complaint was, sometimes I try to save this month, then I go for 3-4 months without saving anything. By the time I go back, I have even used what I saved. You will not have a successful savings plan if you do not save regularly. Regularity in saving is important. What that simply means is, just imagine that you are paying for rent, and your rent is fixed at 100 kwacha or 1,000 kwacha or whatever, and just treat every month's saving as if you are paying toward your rent. Before I end commenting on the questions, let me say this. If you practice savings, you will be so amazed at how beautiful financial management can be, because you will all of a sudden realize that you have money. Instead of borrowing, you will have money to get and use. Now, for today, our topic is so important. It is on spending. Spending is how to get the most from your money. As we contemplate and delve into the subject of spending, we went to the public again to seek the public opinions. We had 3 questions we asked. Question number 1, what makes people overspend money? Why do people overspend? Question number 2, in your opinion, who falls prey to overspending? Is it men or is it women? Question number 3, how should people spend their money? How should people spend their money? Join me and let's go to the public for the opinions.
If you don't have a proper planning, then you have problems in how you spend your money.
Like spending initially is supposed to be when you need something, but overspending happens when you buy something that you don't need, especially when you buy things because of something like impulse buying.
Mostly lack of planning. Yeah. If you just go where you get paid and you go with a freestyle, that way you end up overspending.
Comparing what the neighbor has, that's what makes them to spend.
Most of the time, people spend because they don't plan.
As long as I've access to something, as long as I've got money, money is always what is demanding me to spend it.
Mostly it's lack of planning, you know, because you have to plan on how you're gonna spend your money. You look at priorities. You don't just spend on things that don't make sense.
Men who spend a lot, let's say those people drinks, you find that the money they make, you find that they spend it maybe drinking with friends.
The women spend much because they like shopping, you know, going into malls.
Mostly, as men, we spend a lot because we have to take care of everything. We have to take care of the woman as well.
Traditionally, we think ladies spend more in the sense that they love shopping.
Most is women, and as we buy more like weaving, clothing, we overspend in short.
Definitely men. Yeah, you know, men, as men, we've got a lot of responsibilities, you know what I mean?
Especially these women who don't work, or maybe mothers who don't work.
I think we men, we spend a lot. Because, you know, mostly women, when they get paid or when they have money, they just want to buy the small things.
They should spend money according to their needs, their basic needs.
Best time to make a budget is before we acquire any money.
People should spend according to their needs.
Mostly, we should spend wisely.
I don't know if you've noticed, to many people, and I think almost to all, money comes very slowly. But almost to everybody, money goes out just like that. There are people who don't even know what happens to the money they had simply because money goes very fast, but it comes very slow. Why should this principle help you be wise on spending? Remember, if you are not wise on spending, you will have more days left before your payday than you desire. And also keep in mind, you work so hard. Just imagine, you go to work every day for 30 days. You are just working. And that's when your income comes. Do you want that which you work so hard for to simply go out that quickly. No. So spend time understanding how you are spending, because money does not come quickly. By the way, do you know why people spend carelessly when they are given money? When a person gives you free money, such as an inheritance, when somebody has died and somebody has left some inheritance for you, people who get free money don't seem to care about how they spend it. And one reason is it never came slow. They never worked for it. Just remember, you work for your money. So don't rush in spending it. Number 2, money excites people. You know, you try it even with yourself. When you have money, immediately you start spinning on dreams of what you want to have. Some people, when they have a lot of money, they want to change their cars, they want to change their clothes, they want to change their watch, they want to change even the way they just do things. Money, there's something magical about money. It excites people. And because of that, you need to be aware that when you have it, control the excitement so that you don't just go on a rampage in spending. Number 3, without wise spending, no one can attain their financial goals. When you develop your financial goals and you know what they are, the way life is when you start spending, you have to channel specific amounts to your goals. Now, if you do not spend wisely, you will keep on spending and not even know that you are not attaining any of your goals. Number 4, you will always be in need of money when you don't know how to spend. You know, when you don't know how to spend, you have money. Before long, you have no money. You will always be in need of money when you don't know how to spend. So it's important that you know how to spend. Number 5, poor spending is the gateway to a debt or to a life of debt. When a person does not know how to spend, I can guarantee you such a person will enter into debt. Number 6, some people are actually addicted to spending. And I'm not over exaggerating this point. There are some people who, once they see money, something comes over. It takes them. They are addicted. They just want to spend and to spend. And then all of a sudden, when the money is gone, then they need more money. Because of all these factors, it's important for you to make sure that you learn how to spend and you spend your money wisely. So let me share with you spending tips. Spending tips is like sharing principles that should govern how you spend your money. What are the principles you should follow when you have money and you are going to be spending it? Principle number 1, spend according to the budget or spend according to a spending plan. The reason why you wrote down your budget, either a monthly budget, a quarterly budget, an annual budget, is because you deliberately sat down and decided this is where your money should be going. A budget is a spending plan. That's another word for a budget. And because you have already made a spending plan, it's almost illogical that when you have money, then you just start spending it. So principle number 1 in wise spending is spend according to the budget or to a spending plan. Number 2, use your debit card only according to plan. The debit card is just like cash. There are some times when people go to stores and they forget about their budget simply because their debit card is showing that they have money. The fact that you have money on your debit card or on your ATM card does not mean you should spend it. You should only spend money according to the plan, not because there is money on the ATM card. Many people that I have met and counseled who simply say, I checked, people go to the ATM to just check the balance. It's not the balance you should check for. You should check for what's on your budget or your spending plan. Number 3, and this is very important, always negotiate. The art of negotiating is actually not limited to anyone. You can negotiate in any place except maybe in supermarkets in the mall. Many times when I'm going to buy cement, if I'm building something, when I'm going to buy iron sheets, when I'm going to buy fruits, when I am purchasing, I always negotiate. Negotiate is simply to ask and say, I have bought 20 pockets of cement from you. Instead of charging me 70 kwacha per pocket, can you charge me 69 kwacha per pocket? Many people, actually 90% of people who negotiate on negotiable items will be given that. Even the shop owners know that, and they accommodate that principle. Negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Remember, and let me say this, whatever you negotiate for, the money that you save is very important. Let me share with you something that you should always keep in mind. Imagine you've gone to buy a piece of equipment and it's costing 10,000 kwacha. That's a very expensive item. You negotiate and they say, okay, give us 950 kwacha. 950 kwacha. 9,500 kwacha, which is they've given you a discount of 500 kwacha. Let me tell you something. If you took 10,000 kwacha into an interest earning account in the bank, and that account is earning you 10% interest, do you know how much money 10,000 kwacha will give you on 10% interest per month? It will be less than 90 kwacha. Less than 90 kwacha on 10,000 per month. That's the highest interest you will get on 10%, on 10,000 kwacha. Now, if that is how hard it is to earn interest, why is it that you don't want to negotiate? Because anything you negotiate for advantages you. As a matter of fact, let me tell you why you need to negotiate. Any amount you save is very significant. Can you imagine if you decided to go and shop and spend, let's say, a total of 2,000 kwacha? Out of 2,000 kwacha, if when you are about to pay, you negotiate and they tell you, okay, pay us 1,900 kwacha. You've saved yourself how much? You've saved yourself 100 kwacha. Do you know what it takes to make 100 kwacha? If you are to invest money into a bank and earn interest, if you took 10,000 kwacha into a bank account that earns interest at 10% of interest in 30 days, and you use the formula principal times rate times time is equal to interest, or interest equal to principal times rate times time. When you do this calculation, you will find that on 10,000 kwacha in 30 days at 10% interest, you will only make 82 kwacha. So can you imagine when you negotiated, you saved yourself some 100 kwacha, and yet if you even had 10,000 kwacha in the bank, you would not even make that savings. So it is important for you. Money doesn't come easily. Save it. Keep it to yourself. The next principle. Compare prices when you are shopping. There are places where they sell you because of the place. If you go at the airport, and I'm not trying to attack airports here. If you go at the airport, the same piece of material that will cost you 50 kwacha in town at some place will cost you 100 kwacha at the airport. Or if you went to some big store in the mall, it will cost you double what you will find if you went to another place. So just compare prices, shop around. Avoid spending traps. What are spending traps? There are times you know yourself in your life when you overspend. For example, there are times when you are in a company of friends, for whatever reason you find yourself overspending. Or when you are in certain places, maybe it's at a drinking place, you find yourself overspending. Overspending comes sometimes due to the places where you find yourself. Watch those places and don't go to places or don't be in the company of friends that make you spend more. In other words, be aware of your spending traps. Do not compare or compete with other people. Many people in life compare themselves and start to compete with the other person. Be contented with what you have. Don't compete with other people. Don't buy because it is on sale or an item is advertised. The fact that an item has been advertised and is on sale is no reason for you to buy it. Shops will always advertise things, and it doesn't mean go and buy. No. Number 9, understand the full package when you are shopping things. For example, there are times when people, they go to shop, they buy a printer, they forget that the total package about a printer is not just the printer itself. It could mean the cable that connects between the computer and the printer. It would mean you have to buy sometimes the ink or the cartridge for that. Always understand the full package when you go out shopping. Number 10, be content with what you have. Now, having shared these spending trips, let me talk now about preventive spending. What is preventive spending? Preventive spending is the art of stopping a cost from being incurred by actively engaging in acts that stop the expense from occurring. I'll illustrate this. There are 2 examples I have given on the screen on preventive spending. Number 1, medical bills. Number 2, maintenance. Do you know that there are a lot of medical bills you can prevent? Preventing them from happening. For example, if you engage in exercise, you go for a walk in the morning or you do exercise, you will find that those diseases that easily are a result of lack of exercise, you won't be suffering from them. You'll be preventing that expense because of engaging in exercise. Eating of healthy foods. There are a lot of sicknesses that result in medical bills that you could have prevented if you had only focused on eating healthy foods. There is so much junk food out on the market, food that will not make you healthy. As a general rule, we don't eat simply because we want to fill our stomach or we want to look big. We eat in order to be healthy. At least that's one of the key reasons why we eat. As such, spend time selecting healthy foods. When you eat healthy food, you will prevent yourself from getting sick in most cases. Up to date with vaccinations. Take your child or take your baby for vaccines. Those vaccinations are intended to help prevent you from getting certain diseases because you are vaccinated. Do not smoke. Now, while smoking sounds funny or tastes funny, the truth of the matter is smoking is associated to many healthy challenges you will end up spending both on the cigarette and then on the impact of the health on your body for smoking. Trusting in God or having a positive mind of trust. You know, there are people who are depressed, who feel low all the time. Those kind of feelings will and are likely to result in medical challenges. Be positive. Live in a clean environment. And again, keep clean. Keeping clean, like living in a healthy environment. If you're sleeping in a room, sleep in a room that has ventilation. All these things will work toward you being a healthy person. And when you live healthy, you will stop expenses that would have come as a result of poor health. On maintenance, servicing your car regularly. If you don't service your car regularly, it will give you troubles that will make you spend more money than you would spend on servicing. Fixing leakages on water taps. You know, when a water tap is leaking and you don't fix it, you will end up paying a higher water bill when all you needed was just fix the tap. How many leaking taps do you see or have you seen? You go into a bathtub, you find it has those rust on it because a leaking tap has never been fixed. Fixing leaking roofs. A roof that leaks is likely to result in more expenses if not fixed. And you know how much it costs to fix a leaking roof? In most cases, it's just to go get the glue that you have to apply where it is. But if you don't, that thing will destroy your ceiling. That thing will end up being a higher cost on you. You can prevent that. Running a car on good tires. When you run a vehicle on good tires, you will prevent unnecessary tire bursts, which can result in loss of life, which can result in injuries. Not overspeeding. You know, there are many times when we overspeed, and overspeeding is not just to stop you from speeding high. It is to help you prevent loss of life or minimize on injury expenses. Let me give other general ways you can save your money preventively on educational bills. Encourage your child to pass at once. How many times have I seen children who wrote their 12th grade exam and they did not pass, and then their parents have to pay again for them to resit the same exams? You can prevent that by simply encouraging your child to pass and pass well. Being organized. Being organized will save you money. How many times have you driven in your car going somewhere where you have an appointment only to realize you forgot something? When you drive back, you are wasting your time, you are wasting your petrol. Be organized. Avoid unhealthy relationships. Unhealthy relationships are costly. Keeping good company will always be a better choice. Paying your bills on time and avoiding penalties. Remember, when you don't pay your bill on time, you end up with interest lumped on you, you end up with penalties lumped on you. Family planning. Yes, family planning. Having a reasonable number of children as a means to meeting your expenses. Remember, if you have 7 children, it will cost you more to educate them. You can prevent that by simply doing good family planning. Then have sufficient insurance coverage. When you don't have sufficient insurance coverage and you cause an accident, you will end up spending more money than you would have spent. Now let me see if I can talk to children or address parents about talking to children. It's important for you as a parent to teach children the following principles. Number one, let children learn to spend only when they have money. Number two, money does not come easily. Let your children know that, so that they would also be sensitive to spending. Tell your children not to compete with their friends. They don't know which families their friends come from. Let them be contented with your family alone. Number four, it is cool to say that you don't have money. Many teenagers just feel embarrassed when they say, I don't have money. So they would rather either tell a lie or pretend and spend. No, it is okay not to have money. Take care of things so that they last long. When your parents buy you something, take good care of it. It will last you longer. There are people who will buy same things at the same time. Within 1 year, something will be completely worn out and thrown, and another thing will be okay if it was taken good care of. You don't have to buy things because they are in fashion. It is always common to find young people wanting to buy something because it's in fashion. No, you don't have to always catch up with fashion. You can simply have what is good and what is of good taste. Control your talking on the phone. When you don't control your talking on the phone, you will end up spending and spending. Lastly, sleep enough hours and eat healthy foods, and you will prevent expenses. Now, you will notice that all these principles I've gone through may not have a direct impact on spending. But let me tell you something. If you can keep the 1,000 kwacha in your pocket instead of spending it because of these preventive measures, that is as good as earning an extra income. Take care of that. Now, let me close with comments on gender and spending, husbands and wives. These are comments collected from husbands and comments collected from wives about each other. Many women say men spend more money when they hang out. Hanging out is being wherever you are hanging out. Female observe that their husbands spend money by hanging out. Number two, on girlfriends or small houses. Those things will simply take more money from you. You have a relationship in your home with your wife. Just avoid those things that will simply get money from you and make you poorer or overspend. Women also say that men love to spend on huge items. And then sometimes men like to spend because they want to impress their wives or impress others. What do husbands say about wives? Well, husbands say that women sometimes love to get into debt. And number two, they love impulse spending. Number three, they love shopping, uncontrolled shopping. And then they say helping relatives and spending outside of the plan. Now, the reason for sharing this is simply to say these are observations that are made by both genders as to how money ends up being overspent or spent outside of the plan. One of the things that you have to remember as a husband when it comes to spending, or as a wife when it comes to spending, is once you have drawn a plan, it is important for you, because that plan is open to both of you. It's always important. Leave pocket money for each other, but then spend according to the plan and avoid those things that are traps in spending. Now, I would like us to go and get testimonies from people who have experienced spending wisely and the benefit of spending wisely. Assignment number one, I would like you to go and identify your spending traps. A spending trap is something that makes you spend more money when you are in that situation, or when you are with those people, or when you are in that place. Only you can know. Identify your spending traps. At least identify 2 of the spending traps. Then I would like you to make a plan. A plan that will outline how you will deal with overcoming overspending when you are in your spending trap. That is assignment number 1. Assignment number 2 is I would like you to actually take inventory. Take inventory just for a week of your spending patterns, comparing your spending habits or your spending patterns to your spending plan. Take inventory at the end of the day. Say, how did I spend my money today? And then ask yourself the question, did I spend according to the plan? It's always important for you to keep inventory of your spending plan as your spending habits as a means of you understanding how you spend your money. I hope those 2 assignments will help you deal with this important subject. Now, every time, every Sunday at 2000 hours, you will watch this show, and I am going to be waiting for your questions and your comments on the number appearing on the screen, 09633 63 115, 09633 73 115. Remember, when you have mastered your art of spending, you will have begun acquiring the necessary skill for a life of good money management. Thank you.